Yeah, a few quick things. There are a number of things that I've noticed since deploying 0.6.0 to production. Um, a few bugs, basically, which is expected. This is a 0.6.0 is a pretty different version. So, a bunch of stuff that I've just recorded over time. Um, Nothing super dramatic, but just things that need to get fixed. I haven't opened issues for them yet. All I did was I've gathered notes in a Markdown file and copied them into the project here for 0.6.1. So I'll work to triage those soon. But nothing too dramatic, and I plan on fixing all of them myself just because it'd be easier. Um, but yeah, that'll be probably in the next week or so. It's a minor version, so mostly, like I said, just fixing bugs for what's there. And a lot of it also has to do with compatibility with the new preview service as well, because I've been continuing to work on that as well. But nothing too groundbreaking here. In fact, I think I'll probably move a few of these issues out to the next major version. Like user feedback box is probably going to be a pretty substantial undertaking. So we'll see. Anyway, that as well as the next version of the curriculum, I'm not planning on doing much major there. I'm kind of interested in letting everything settle down for a little bit. So the next version of the curriculum is likely also to be fairly small. I have one little piece of content I want to work on, and then also the Ansible lesson. I've been talking to Sean from Red Hat, and he has pointed me to a PR that I don't have in front of me right now, but I can maybe put in the show notes that fix the issue that we're seeing with the Ansible lesson today. Turns out there's a new config option that they can pass into Paramiko that makes it so that the SSH banner timeout is much longer, which apparently is needed. Still don't know why, but the theory is that will fix the issue that we're seeing in the Ansible lesson. So anyway, minor versions on the horizon, but nothing too major. That's really it for me, honestly, this week. Like I said, what I'm trying to do now is just continue to monitor the new platform that's been deployed and fix issues as they come up.
Okay, nice. I've seen your message about the length of the recording. By the way, I may volunteer to proceed with the recording and later editing if that can relieve you of some time spent on the meetings eventually.
I'm not quite following. Sorry, can you say that again?
I proposed maybe I can help with recording the meetings and editing them to put them online in case that would relieve you of some burden associated to the meetings.
Oh, not really. I mean, thank you, but it really doesn't take that much. I just I upload it and it goes into YouTube, and then once YouTube processes it, I just go into the editor real quick and trim the very beginning because usually there's some lead in. But sometimes I don't even have to do that. Sometimes we just get stuck. This morning, I probably won't even do that because we just got started. But anyway, thank you. Yeah, this is, to be honest, this is not that much of a time suck.
Okay. Other than that, maybe you saw or you didn't see because it was night for you, a post where I summarized my efforts related to Eclipse Che and Antidote.
I just started reading them, so I have not digested them in detail.
Okay.
I saw them.
So in the process, even though that wasn't necessary, I tested a bit the upgrade to Kubernetes 1.18, which apparently wasn't so hard, but I haven't tested a lot of lessons. So it's just barely works.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you expected as a potential breakage or
there are a number of Kubernetes. I can send you. There's a link to a blog post actually that would explain it much better. There are a number of sort of more minor resources that have been moved to different API versions. And in the Antidote core, we actually import those resources via specific packages that are relevant to those versions. And so things like pods and services, things that are like pretty core to Kubernetes, those will work just fine because they haven't changed in years. But some of the more niche things, I'm trying to remember which ones that I know change, but some of the more niche things I would like to make sure are upgraded. The reality is that they're probably still in their existing packages. I don't know that they've actually removed those packages, but they're still on that old API version. So if there have been changes and updates, I'd like to be compatible with whatever the version of Kubernetes is using as sort of like the standard version. So like if 18, for instance, this is just an example, I don't know if this is true. If 18 has moved jobs from that's actually a horrible example. I happen to know that hasn't changed. Whatever, it's fine. We'll use it as an example. If it has changed, it might be that it's still in the old package, but it might also be that the new struct has the new version has sort of updated fields, for instance. And so yeah, I mean, like we could probably deploy it that way, but you also have to understand I'm running this site in production. And I don't want to have software that is not explicitly built for a particular version. I would like to do that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. It's just I don't want to take any shortcuts there. If we're going to go with 118, I'd like Antidote Core to be officially updated to support it.
Yeah. In
Even
any
if
case, maybe I can report a few corner cases and stuff that need attention in advance. That's why I filed also kind of question asking for documentation about a particular version of Multus or whatever, or CNI
Oh yeah, I saw
plugin.
that too. To be honest, we could probably get
Because
rid of that. We could probably get rid of that. The reason we didn't document that is because we didn't really intend on doing it forever. It was a temporary measure to try to get LLDP working. But to be honest, that's pretty low on my priority list. So there's really not a compelling reason to stick with it, other than for now that's kind of just where we left it. So I'd rather not spend a lot of cycles documenting it because it's kind of not meant to be there anyway. I'd rather just move behind. And just for reference, and this is I just so you know, I've been maybe anybody that watches the recording. The only difference between anti-bridge and the bridge plugin is that we happen to set a particular flag to allow LLDP. That is literally it. There is no difference between the two binaries other than that. So, just FYI.
I don't know if you noticed, but we are 4 people on the show now.
Oh no, I see. Yeah, wow, that's really cool. Hey, everybody.
Hi, gang.
Calvin.
Hello. I honestly came here to see if our friend Cloud Toad would be on just one more day.
No, he's busy, man. He's busy moving things forward.
Understood.
Hey, that was a joke. That was a joke.
I know it was a good one too.
Okay. Well, you didn't laugh, so I didn't. You didn't laugh, so I didn't.
Oh no.
Just making sure.
It's that level of dad humor that I just absolutely adore.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I also I like your avatar.
Oh. Thanks. That's my corporate one. I'm curious. I submitted oh god, what was that back in the repo, a proposal to do a class on Nornir. Do you think that would be, do you think that that's enough attraction within NRE Labs? Are you getting any requests for something along those lines, or is it just don't even pay attention to it, just go ahead and create it?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some, but yeah, to your point, for what you just said, I honestly wouldn't wait too much for like a lot of like attraction. I think everybody generally, when I propose ideas for lessons, everybody's like generally like, "Woo, that's great!" Like nobody's gonna say no, that sucks. Don't do, you know what I mean? So if you're interested in doing it, I would say like just I don't think that there's a reason to not do it. It's not like it would be negative content. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be good no matter what. The only thing is I have not yet reached out to Kirk, and I promised him I would do that. Why don't I send him a quick note and ask him what he thinks about you taking it on?
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I can reach out to him. Or
you could do that as well. That's totally fine too. I want to make sure, because I have already promised. The only reason I would do this is because I've already promised him that I would give him right of first refusal, which he's welcome to do.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah.
completely fair.
Yeah, it's like not a hard policy of mine, but like whenever I see a project that anybody is like an actual maintainer on, I'm like, I'd like to give them the option, and they don't always take me up on it. I mean, for instance, the napalm lesson, like David Barroso just didn't have the time to contribute, which is totally fine. And I think the reality is that this might be the same case. So yeah, I would run it by Kirk, and if he's willing, this take it and run with it.
All right, understood.
Cool. And Raj, I'm just going down the participant list. You were on last week, right? I'm trying to remember.
Hey everyone. So hi Matt. Yeah, I think I added it to my calendar, but I don't remember. I don't think I made it to the last week's meeting,
Oh, okay.
but I kind of tried to. Yeah, I mean, I remember I added it to my calendar, but somehow it did not pop up, and I forgot about the meeting. So this is the first time
Yeah, no worries. Do you
that I'm
mind?
trying.
I would love. Do you mind spending like a second to introduce yourself? You don't have to give away all your secrets, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look me, I mean, I don't know if all or most of us are from Juniper. So,
Olivier is not. Olivier is a teacher in
okay.
France.
All right. Oh, awesome.
I'm
So,
I'm the spy here.
yeah, I'm the other spy who has a Juniper account. So yeah, I'm Raj Maradia, and I'm network automation engineer with Juniper's JCL Juniper Cloud Labs. So
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, I've been working with Juniper networks for like more over 4 years. I was working with Juniper's switching tech support team, and I studied masters in computer engineering from NYU, New York University. So yeah, my recent interests are yeah, I'm learning a lot of Python and other automation skills. So I started using NRE Labs for a few lessons, and then I also saw a few of my teammates, they also contributed for NRE Labs, and I find it really cool. So that's why I started looking into more and more about NRE Labs, and then I wanted to contribute. So then I saw it that the best way to contribute is to join the stand-ups, and that's why I'm here.
Sounds great.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Nice to meet you, Raj. I work a lot with some of your teammates there in JCL and V
Mhm.
Labs, and just I think tremendous things about the products that you guys work on. So
Mhm.
it's good to have a chance to meet up with you.
That's nice. Good to hear that.
Also, I really love to hear these success stories of people using NRE Labs to enable their career. Like it just, I don't know. I've just been a big fan of the product for the last year or so, and just to hear like these success stories, it makes me like all giddy, even though I have zero to do with the actual product itself. I'm still really
Mhm.
happy to hear it.
Yeah, I
Same
mean,
here. Same here. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I was like, I still remember that I was doing some or the other scripting things in my old job, and it was a big shift from tech support to automation in JCL. And when I asked my few few colleagues that what's the best way to learn these technologies, or how to start learning this scripting or this automation or this coding, and they were like, just go to NRE Labs, and then you'll learn Jinja 2 templating. You'll learn a lot of stuff. So just go there, do everything that it says, and then come back to us.
Nice.
Mhm. Yep. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So what kind of projects I can contribute to, or
I
how can
mean,
I be?
yeah. So that's the sky's the limit. To be honest, I mean, one of the things that I have on my to-do list is to clean up some of the issues. But if you go to the repo today, you can see the list of issues that are open. Like I said, I need to triage these because a lot of these are kind of old.
Mhm.
But all of the existing lesson ideas are effectively issues that are in this curriculum repo. So you could either take one of these. There's plenty that you could take up here. I need like I said, I need to do a good job of not only cleaning these up, but uh, also um, adding labels and things like that. Because not all of them are full lessons, and some of them are like bug fixes too.
Okay.
But yeah, in general, this is a good source of inspiration. But it's not the one thing I do want to make sure is clear. It's by no means an exhaustive list of topics. If you showed up with a new topic of your own and it was interactive and it taught a concept appropriately, then I'm game. I think there's a little bit of guidance in the docs. Give me 1 second. I think that I don't remember, but I think that I spent a little bit of time outlining what I believe makes for a good lesson. Because we don't have restrictions per se, but we do want to make sure that the content is compelling and actually teaches a concept. So I would say, I don't think I have a page on that, but anyway,
Actually, Matt, I think you do, and that helped shape my perspective when I submitted that issue for a Nornier class, right? Because
okay.
you broke down in the documents, what's a class, what's the structure of what you feel is appropriate, what's the lesson, what's the framing of it, how to position it correctly. So I know it's floating around there somewhere in the docs.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
cannot remember that too.
I'm personally curious is to know if you've made any progress on the proposed lesson on time series databases.
I have not. That's also up for grabs, to be honest. I think I made like a very early work on maybe an image. Geez, these these are also things that I need to clean up because I get in the habit of opening sort of work in progress PRs and then stopping. um, yeah. So pull request 286. What did I do? Did I not? I didn't even build an image. Never mind. This might as well not even exist. This PR contains a new lesson metadata file. Looks like a VQFX config for reasons, and then uh, a single guide. And actually, it's not even compatible with the latest version of Antidote. So I'm just going to close this PR. You're welcome to take it. Not that my PR did much with it. I think in the if you look at the description of the PR, that might be the most helpful part of it because I put some thought into like what the different stages might be in the lesson, as well as maybe the topology. So you can take that as inspiration if you'd like, but I'm not going to move forward with this. I'm just going to close it. 286 is the number.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that should be pretty straightforward. I mean, as somebody who uses InfluxDB as actually the stats for NRE Labs on the back end, I happen to know that that they offer Docker images for everything, and it doesn't run super heavy, so it should be a pretty good candidate for endpoints. In fact, the Grafana you can even run Grafana in NRE Labs. I don't know if you noticed that.
I think I saw when you had made a major release on NRE Labs that you had Grafana running somewhere in the back end to show kind of real-time stats of
Oh yeah, that's true. But what I mean actually is I'll share my screen so you know what I mean. I think it's lesson stage 4 now. Yeah, I believe so. What I mean is showing the actual web UI in a lesson. So what you're referring to is just me. What I basically did. This was very early in NRE Labs, but I embedded Grafana dashboards into like a sub page of NRE Labs. So just like /stats or whatever, and that was very static, and it wasn't part of a lesson. It was just a sub page. But if you have a lesson with an HTTP presentation, you can actually embed a web UI as part of the lesson in a different tab here.
Oh, that's slick as grits.
So yeah, the way this works is if you go to object reference, lessons, presentations. So some presentations, in fact, the majority of them use SSH just because you've got uses a command line terminal. But if you wanted to also provide a web based presentation, you can do that. Um, and I also do this, by the way, in the REST APIs lesson. Where are you? For the API Explorer on top of EQFX. Same kind of concept. The idea is that you just basically create the endpoint. So this would be, say, Grafana, for instance. You'd build it, and we have to have obviously sort of images that are in Antidote Labs. So you would build sort of a sub image that's configured the way you want, and then we would provide that here. And then underneath there would be probably a single web presentation, port 80 likely, and then HTTP as the presentation type. And what that does is it plumbs the web UI at that port through to the front end here in a tab.
Okay, and where in the docs had you just been looking at?
Yeah, it's in the object reference and then lessons and then presentations.
Okay, understood.
Not sure about the choice of object reference, Matt. Maybe that could be rephrased as something else. I don't know.
What's wrong with it?
Means object oriented for me, so I don't know. Maybe it's just personal taste or.
Yeah, maybe. If I think of if I think of a better name, I'll probably use that. In this case, it's just referring to it's a reference for all the different objects that you can create within a curriculum: images, lessons, collections, and then subtypes within each. I think I played around with. I think I actually did play around with different names for that section, like types, and that ended up sounding even weirder. Okay, cool. Anybody have anything to discuss?
Matt, just one quick question. I'm curious as to where you see NRE Labs as like what's the sweet spot as far as beginner to advanced curriculum? Because you've got some things that kind of push the user towards more advanced concepts, right? But like for instance, I recently wrote a SDK for CSO, our SD-WAN solution for all the APIs, and created that as an Ansible module. And I was thinking, this would be really great content to share from a like education perspective, but I don't feel that maybe NRE Labs, like the scope and the focus is dedicated towards doing something along those lines. Is there like a limit to how advanced of a topic that you think that NRE Labs is a good fit for that medium?
When I'm thinking through that, I don't necessarily think of the advanced nature of the topic, because we do have, to your point, we do have some advanced topics. Excuse me, somebody's trying to break into my house apparently. These examples are how to interact with the SDK for CSO.
It was more about building like an API wrapper and then using that API wrapper within an Ansible module, like writing your own custom. Like the idea at the end of the day, forget the whole API wrapper stuff, was how to write your own custom module for Ansible, right? Because a lot of network engineers, they get started with Ansible because it's kind of easy, but they quickly run into a wall within the limitations of the modules, and they kind of have this need to build a module, but they don't really know where to go. And the documentation for a non-programmer is, it's a little complicated. So I felt like that might be a good fit. And the use case that I was giving, it was, write a Ansible module for our SD-WAN controller. But, that could easily be, referencing something else.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious as to see, like, is is that good curriculum for NRE Labs, or is it going too far off in one specific direction? We want to kind of stay more generalized and broad.
No, I think it's actually fine. It's definitely more on the advanced side, but like I said, that's definitely within scope. In terms of sweet spot, there's probably a multifaceted answer to this. In terms of sweet spot, yeah, probably on the beginner side is our sweet spot because that's sort of why we built it, and it's also, I think, a lot of the content is oriented that way. But that doesn't mean it's a requirement by any means, actually. And if it was, I've already broken it. So. I don't think it's out of scope for sure. The only concern that I have is for that particular kind of content, not even its advanced nature, but it's specifically the fact that the user will need to learn how to effectively write code to build an abstraction on top of something. The user experience there might not be amazing because we don't currently have a way to really guide the user through editing files. Now,
I'm coming, baby. I'm coming.
Yeah, no. I was leading into that, Olivier. So Olivier's actually currently looking at a couple different ways. He's actually got a student currently exploring different ways to provide that inside of Antidote. So using something called Eclipse Che or Thea, which is a more low-level component of Che that we might use. And that will definitely improve that. So I just want to be upfront about the tools that are currently available in terms of editing files and writing code. Right now, the experience is effectively whatever you bake into the endpoint, which is almost certainly going to have to be something like Vim.
All right, understood. And just to kind of wrap my head around that potential new service offering, is it like a embedded web IDE that people could? I see.
Exactly.
Yep, that's the goal. Yeah, and the goal would be to effectively make it part of the platform. So kind of like the like web presentation. It would be a feature of the platform where in the lesson metadata file you say, hey, I would like to have an editor available in this lesson, and it's like a Boolean flag that you switch on, and then that way the user has access to it.
Actually, we have that already, but it's not really well known in terms of Jupyter content, where you have a Python editor or maybe other syntaxes, but it's embedded inside a Jupyter, Juniper.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm confused, but Jupyter, yeah. But it's probably not widespread in the curriculum.
Yeah, that's an option. I mean, yeah, if you wanted to use Jupyter Notebooks, that's an option. I don't know if really that moves the needle too much on the editor side of things, but it's certainly a little bit more focused on Python. So it might be an easier option than simply just making them write code with Vim. So yeah, maybe just in terms of what's available today, writing it in a Jupyter Notebook is the best call. But yeah, I would leave that up to you. I mean, like I said, my goal is to build tools for folks like you to use, and so you tell me which ones are working for you.
Yeah, understood. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. I need to drop, but I just wanted to share with you that we on the account team for one of our large oil and gas customers have successfully positioned NRE Labs as part of a ongoing weekly training touch point with them. So every week they have homework to do within NRE Labs, and then I follow up with them on every Wednesday and kind of gauge their response, get some feedback on what their experience was like, whether it was on the topics or just the user experience alone. So hopefully, as this engagement progresses, we have some more feedback to give you on either recommendations for content or, again, like web editors, like recommendations for potential tools in the future.
Sure, that is awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know. I would love to hear more about that, actually.
Sure, absolutely. We'll continue to spread the gospel.
Dope. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yep, you too.
See you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Olivier, I can't remember. Did you go over the update, or did you just want to do that in the forums? It sounds
So,
like you're still working on it.
yeah, it's a work in progress, and so I'm done for today.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I just wanted to make sure we I
Yeah, sure.
I literally didn't expect that the day that I post that I would like to keep things to 30 minutes, that like 4 people join my stand up, or our stand up. I shouldn't call it my stand up, but yeah.
You should do that again and ask for only 15 minutes, and then we have 8 people.
Yeah, clearly it's working. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, this has been good. Yeah, we'll keep it in the forums. Thanks again, Raj, for joining. Appreciate you joining. If there's anything we can do to help you get started with really any aspect of the project, whether it's the curriculum or other, please just let us know.
Yeah, and what's the best way to, talk to the contributors? Is it just via the GitHub or the Git page or discussion?
Yeah, so we have if you go to discuss.nrelabs.io, that's where everybody hangs out.
Okay.
So there, that's our sort of informal asynchronous communication.
Got it.
If you have specific issues that you want to work on something, or you have a PR, then yeah, GitHub's definitely a better fit for that. But in terms of just chatting about stuff and asking questions, the forums are definitely the best place.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is my first kind of a open source contribution project. So I'm not sure. It might take a few weeks for me to to understand how the flow works and how to contribute and all those stuff.
That is okay. That is okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely start with the curriculum first because that helps a lot.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Olivia.
Cool.
Welcome.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.